Hey everybody, Dr. Diane from My Libido Doc here, and we're talking about 99% of adult problems that can be solved with this one technique. I know that sounds too good to be true, but that's what I'm going to go over today, and I think this is so important because it's so easy to go through life as adults, and adulting is hard, right? We have time management, we have a bazillion different hats to fill. Sometimes I think about how many decisions I make in a day as an adult and as an entrepreneur and business owner. It's got to be like 500-600 decisions between every little micro decision I make throughout the day with my business, with the stepkids, with all the things. It's just a lot. And then we have juggling so many balls, and we're trying oftentimes to balance the worry of our relationships, of money, and of health, which are the top 3 things people spend the most time thinking about. So these most problems, right, that we have in adulting come down to relationships with our partner, with our kids, with our boss, with our friends, health, or money, right? And we spend a lot of time worrying about these things, a lot of time trying to solve them. So what is this magical thing that can solve 99% of problems? Well, this answer is going to seem really simple, but I want you to hang with me through this answer because sometimes the most simple things can be the most profound. So before I give you this answer for the top one thing that can help solve 99% of problems, I want to make sure you know about another very simple technique. This technique is by Mel Robbins, who has created the Let Them Theory. She's a great book. I highly recommend it. And it's a really simple concept, right? It's a really simple concept, and this concept has reached literally millions of people. So what she does in this concept is she teaches people that if somebody else is angry, if you say something and it's like, oh my gosh, how are they going to respond? I'm worried. Are they going to like me? Are they going to be mad at me? For example, all these different things we do. Well, if we take a step back and say, you know what? Let them. If I am acting in integrity and I'm doing my thing, let them be angry if they're going to be angry. Let them be mad. Let them. Right? So this is a huge part of her teachings to really help stop projecting and putting one's happiness on another person and help take responsibility. So it's super simple, right? Like I said, her technique has touched millions. Super simple, just let them. And it's really powerful. So I'm framing that ahead of telling you what I'm going to tell you because it's also going to sound abundantly simple, but I want you to stay with me. So the number one thing that can solve 99% of adult problems is the power of prioritization. And don't go anywhere because I know you're like, so many people are going to hear this and say, duh, Dr. Diane, like, okay, that's like so obvious, right? And it is. But here's all the ways that we don't prioritize. So when we are saying, okay, the most important things in our life are X, Y, Z, right? A lot of prioritization comes in putting out fires, right? I got to do this and I got to do this and I got to run here and I got to do this and I got to do this and there's a billion things and I'm checking things off the to-do list. And then we feel exhausted. And the problem is much of the time we feel so exhausted by tasking all day that we haven't prioritized the things that are most important, whether it's looking at our bank accounts and budgeting, whether it is having that real intimate talk with our child or a very sweet night with our lover partner, or prioritizing something in our health. So one of the huge things that can solve a lot of problems and get people out of these things and start prioritizing things like health and relationships, obviously this is a libido channel, is starting to make a list of your top 3 to 5 priorities. And then start going through your day and start looking at your day or weeks, day to week in advance and say, if I run my day the way it's set up now, am I going to have time to attend to my top 3 priorities with energy? And if that's not true, then one of the most helpful things is to start looking at things and say, what creative ways, what creative solutions can I have? What else can I let go of? What else can I say no to? What else can I find more efficient ways of doing, right? What else can I have a conversation with somebody about maybe needing to do in a couple weeks? But I think one of the biggest problems we run into, and when we're talking about libido and sex, which we do on this channel, one of the things we run into is even though we can show up and even though we can commit to somebody in a long-term relationship, oftentimes getting married, but in, just these committed relationships where we say, yes, you are my person, I'm with you. And then so often that busyness of life comes up that even though we say that they're our priority, we don't actually take the time to put them and to put the relationship as a true priority, meaning, hey, there's time and there's effort in that, there's energy and there's space that gets created for this thing. So that's what I really recommend is make yourself a list of your top 3 to 5 priorities in your life. And really then start looking at your day and saying, okay, these are the things that are most important to me. How can I better set my life up? What needs to change? What different decisions do I need to make? What do I need to let go of maybe in order to start carving out the time, the space, the energy to prioritize these things? And I meet so many people that are so good at keeping up with, their friends and their Bible study groups and this thing for the kids and that thing for the kids and all these things, that they haven't, in the busyness of all of this, made that time and said, you know what, this relationship is one of my top priorities, and here's where I'm going to put space for it, and I'm going to make sure that even though these other things are important, that this space of these 3 hours a week or whatever it is, that this is reserved specifically for this type of relationship and this person that is important in my life. And when we start to design our life, right, we can design our life around this. When we start to say, okay, well, how can I set up with whatever I'm doing, with whatever my office schedule is, with whatever my kids' schedule is, maybe it's finding more people to carpool for kids, right? Maybe there's a need to say that you're going to make it to most of your kids' games, but maybe not every kid game, because that's the one time you and your partner can have that intimate moment, right? Really saying, okay, well, where is the priority here to make sure your top 3 priorities always have space in your week-to-week life and oftentimes in your day-to-day life. So that really is the power of prioritization, because a lot of these problems are coming up because the 3 bigs in adulting that come up, relationships, money, and health, most commonly, we're not actually, even though they're the 3 most important things and the 3 things that tend to bring people the most joy and help them feel the most safe and supported, or help bring them the most distress. But part of that distress is because we're not actually prioritizing and finding time to make these things integrated and to give them the space in our life. So I hope this is helpful. My goal is always to support you in your relationships, to really help couples understand that sex, that intimacy, that closeness can absolutely get better with long-time relationships and the time we put into them. But we just need to know how. We just need to get away that old belief that says, hey, things have to fade or things have to fizzle or the passion has to die. That's a lie. It's just that we're not told how to continue to keep that passion alive. So that's what we're doing here. Please do subscribe. My mission is to help as many couples find more intimacy in their life, and I would love your help with that. Thank you so much. I'm Dr. Diane from My Libido Doc. See you in another video.